Is E.coli contamination from the BWSL sewage ponds an active threat to the health of Port Loyola residents? Tonight, we'll look at the worrying findings in a new report and talk to the water company's chairman. And the Costa Rican killed on the Placencia Peninsula will have details. Also, what was the UDP's Mike Guerra thinking? And whose side is he on? He praised the PUP and ignored his own party when he spoke last night in the budget debate. Plus, we'll show you a public officer allegedly caught with 6 weed. Also, the Port of Belize on the proposed port was fiery. We'll take you there. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight, Thursday, 6th, 2026. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indra Craig.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
The Feinsteins built the tourism village, brought cruise tourism to Belize, helped build this industry from the ground up, and created thousands of jobs. And when Belize needed a deep water cruise port, the Feinsteins went on to develop Stake Bank Island, a Belizean family investing in Belize and building for Belizeans. But instead of supporting Belizeans, this government chose to undermine the project.
The government has colluded with a bank to seize from a private owner.
No, the state is stealing his land.
There was some collusion going on, that there was some inappropriate activity even in the judicial process, and that there were players involved who have strong political capital because they're either currently serving in office, formerly served at really high levels of office, who are deeply involved with this.
They said it was for a public purpose.
But they're acquiring it for a private company.
So this government took away the Feinsteins' land, took away their project, gave it to a private company. And now this same government is building another cruise port at the port of Belize. So what was the purpose of taking Stake Bank? And now the Foreign Affairs Minister is upset that America is paying attention. No, Francis. This is on the PUP. It's no longer just local politics. Washington is watching. It's not going unnoticed.
And could lead to sanctions, right? OFAC sanctions, which would be devastating.
Now, one thing I know do, I know lie, I know liar. Let's take about $80,000. And yes, I hear son here, they pay a monthly payment of $100 towards it, stuff like that. And if you divide 80,000, you get 800 months. Divide that by 12 months, and it will take a person 66 years to pay for a one-bedroom house.
This is why I said when you're going to represent the people of Belize, the least you could do is do some homework. So that is a complete lie again. The project is a project that the government subsidizes quite a portion of it. The only thing that the recipient is responsible for is $12,000 of that. That is paid at $100 a month for 10 years. The government subsidizes all the infrastructure, all the culverts that go in to let them be able to access their home, all the landscaping that is done, all the extra works that need to get done for the home to be a home. Our recipients will own their home at the bargain price of $12,000. As a single mom, I wish this program existed when I needed a home.
This is unconscionable. This is ridiculous. This is not a program for the poor people.
My fight is for them to see what their people are going through. Not to spout the words, to see, to feel, to understand. For them to sit and be taking pictures and smiling and laughing and saying they care about the people, that's easy to do. When you come in and you do the hard work daily for the people, that's what we do at MIDH. We ensure that our people know that we love them, we care about them, and we're doing our best. Our recipients have formed a relationship with MIDH. They know that they can pick up the phone and they can call us, and we are going to try to address the problems that they have. Yes, we have not gotten to everybody, but we are doing our best. We're trying. So my advice to the area rep for Albert and for myself is get back on the ground and know your people.
Oh, for true? Why? Hallelujah!
This Easter, don't just drive, upgrade your ride. From March 26th to April 2nd, Enrique Martinez and Sons Limited is bringing you a big Easter giveaway you don't want to miss. Buy any Gitti, Boto, or Hifix tires and get a free t-shirt or cap. Just like that. We're talking high performance tires, built for the road, built for Belize, and built to last. So whether you're hitting the highway or just upgrading your daily drive, this is your moment. Visit us on Philip Golson Highway, Belize City, or call us at 223-0490. That's 223-0490. Enrique Martinez and Sons Limited. Never settle for just good enough. Settle for the very best.
No starter homes have been given to any member of my constituency, Mesopotamia. How is it that Mesopotamia did not get a single starter home for anyone in this division? I am telling you, I, as a representative, since I have been there, have received none. Now, one thing I know do, I know lie. I know liar. I know liar.
That is a lie. The reality is that 7 persons out of Mesopotamia who are registered voters in Mesopotamia have received homes already, and there are a few more that will be receiving homes in a short order. Those 7 people come from the special project on Iguana Street that is right at the corner, that big, huge building that you see. There are 17 persons living in that house, 3 families, 3 single mothers. This entire structure is located in Mesopotamia. So for him to say we have not spent any money in housing in Mesopotamia, I'm not understanding if he's blind. 2 of his people are in Blackberry. There are 2 in Belmopan. You have 1 in Highland. Lee Marchang has received messages from me, and he has said, no, I'm not attending. So if you're not attending, am I supposed to be forcing you to attend? No, can't force you to attend to your people. I can do what I do, which is ensure that your people receive homes, and after that, it's your responsibility to do the rest.
Most of the housing are being built by one contractor. One contractor.
There are right now currently 135 or more contractors registered and who have built these homes across the length and breadth of this country, from Corozal to PG. These are small contractors. These contractors are hired to build the homes in the area they come from.
That's $186 a square foot. A square foot.
His entire presentation on that is a lie. The homes cost about approximately $129 more or less per square feet, and that includes full plumbing, service entrance, and we have to do a lot of landscaping, we have to do a lot of prep work for the properties, especially in the low-lying areas of Belize. We have had to push in roads for a mile. I think one of the longest roads we've built is a mile or a little bit over a mile. And that is in terrain that is not easy to handle. We've had to remove hillsides. We've had to pull down bushes and do a complete bushing of the entire area. We've had to do culverts. We've had to try to negotiate with BL to push in electricity poles and entire systems. We've had to talk to BWSL to get water. We have tried to improve the quality of the lives of the persons who receive our homes.
Oh, for true? Why? Hallelujah!
I'm Randall Friesen, and I manage Westwell Produce, better known as Granny's Foods. That's our main brand. So we offer high quality grains, beans, rice, and we also offer corn chips made from 100% locally grown corn. We saw a need for high quality, locally produced products. A lot of the best products are being exported, and we said, we need to keep some of the best products here in Belize rather than export everything. Atlantic Bank has helped us achieve our goals by providing the financing for us to be able to launch products faster than we would without the financing that they offer. We find that Atlantic Bank is very customer friendly, especially with small and medium-sized businesses. We find that Atlantic Bank is more than willing to go the extra mile. They try to understand your business. So when we go to Atlantic Bank with a certain need, we find that they try to develop a solution that will meet our specific need. I would encourage any small business owner to go to Atlantic Bank for their financial services. They're very friendly, and just overall, their service is excellent.
The Feinsteins built the tourism village, brought cruise tourism to Belize, helped build this industry from the ground up, and created thousands of jobs. And when Belize needed a deep water cruise port, the Feinsteins went on to develop Stake Bank Island, a Belizean family investing in Belize and building for Belizeans. But instead of supporting Belizeans, this government chose to undermine the project.
The government has colluded with a bank to seize from a private owner.
No, the state is stealing his land.
There was some collusion going on, that there was some inappropriate activity even in the judicial process, and that there were players involved who have strong political capital because they're either currently serving in office, formerly served at really high levels of office, who are deeply involved with this.
They said it was for a public purpose.
But they're acquiring it for a private company.
So this government took away the Feinsteins' land, took away their project, gave it to a private company. And now this same government is building another cruise port at the port of Belize. So what was the public purpose of taking Stake Bank? And now the Foreign Affairs Minister is upset that America is paying attention. No, Francis. This is on the PUP. It's no longer just local politics. Washington is watching. It's not going unnoticed.
And could lead to sanctions, right? OFAC sanctions, which would be devastating.
Week 6 of the NABL season showcases 3 flaming matchups this weekend. On Friday night in Dangriga, the Dream Ballers look to bounce back after an heartbreaking loss and take it to the Belmopan Trojans. Then, on Saturday night in Corozal, the Spartans try yet again to get their first win against the undefeated #1 team in the league, the Orange Walk Running Rebels. And in Belize City, them not like me, I mean I like them. A full-fledged clash as the #2 team in the league, the San Pedro Tiger Sharks, try to stay undefeated against the loaded Belize City Defenders. Entertainment by the NEBL girls, giveaways, and the halftime $5,000 National Sports Council Shooting Challenge. So see you this weekend for an NEBL weekend, sponsored by the Government of Belize.
Champion security, champion security, champion security. Yeah. Your security is our business, so we gonna protect you like a champion, like a champion.
Guess what, Mr. Handsome? Yeah, over there, champion security. This is the place to be. What does sign say? Champion Security. Here at Champion Security, we provide quality service. You know why? Such as triology lock, fire alarm, IP camera system, gate operator, biometric lock, and alarm system. Champion Security. Make a go check out where they go on inside of Champion Security. And boy, nice to meet you, my brother. Tell me a little bit more about Champion Security.
Well, welcome, Mr. Hanson. Here at Champion Security, we offer fire system, alarm system, camera system, gate operator, access control, and also trilogy locks and magnetic locks. Everything you need to do with security systems for residential and businesses, you could find everything here at Champion Security. We also consist of 12 technicians, and we offer technical support 24 hours. So anything you need for your security systems, you could find everything here at Champion Security.
Remember, guys, here at Champion Security, we live by our motto, where safe stay is our business. Give us a call now. Don't forget to check us on Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media platforms. And continue to shake it to the max all the way. Champion Security, the best place to be. We care for your safety.
You wanna rent it? That's not a problem. We got remote gate.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Tonight, there are public health concerns for the coast areas of Port Loyola after a study has surfaced pointing to worrying levels of E.coli contamination arising from the sewage ponds along Fabers Road, known as the Dike. A report shared with the press yesterday by port developer David Gegg says, quote, the fecal coliform levels reported in the BWSL dataset are far above acceptable public health thresholds and are indicative of heavy fecal contamination equivalent to extremely elevated E. coli concentrations. These levels present a high risk of gastrointestinal disease through ingestion or direct contact. Later on, it says, quote, the extremely elevated fecal coliform concentrations, which consistently and substantially exceed the regulatory limit of 177,727 colonies per 100 milliliter in 2022, end quote. That's 889 times the regulatory limit, alarming even if it was sampled 5 years ago. We spoke to the BWS chairman about it today.
I haven't seen the report as yet. I did see it on the newscast yesterday. And to be honest, I think it's really some misguided anger against BWS between two development projects, which, well, unfortunately, we're the ones in the middle now. But really, it's nothing to hide, Jules. BWS, and it has been through administrations, past administrations, where very little investment has been done on wastewater and sanitation. And if you do an assessment of the water quality throughout the coast, you are going to see some scary results, right? So I'm sure when Mr. Gay complains about the ponds, yes, it's in a bad situation, but I'm sure he's going to see some of these same effects where he plans to develop as well, because I think he's about 6 miles away from where we are.
But when you read things like the fecal coliform levels reported in the BWSL dataset are far above acceptable public health thresholds and are indicative of heavy fecal contamination equivalent to extremely elevated E. coli concentrations, they present a high risk of gastrointestinal disease through ingestion or direct contact. You know, it says that in vulnerable populations, children, the elderly, and immunocompromised individuals, it may result in infections which could become severe or life-threatening. But so yeah, it's some very serious findings for the immediate term. What are you able to say to persons living in Port Loyola and along Fabers Road?
BWS is working on improving the outflow. So we have already acquired some solar aerators, which should assist in the breakdown. We're continuously doing the desludging process as well, and also utilizing bacteria to do some improvements. So we have been taking that proactive approach for now until the plant is completed. The plant takes about between a year and a half to 2 years to be completed.
In March of 2026, what do you see as the immediate public health risks associated with the outflow from the sewage ponds?
It happens. The testing portion of it comes when it's a lot closer to the outflow itself. The mangroves help as a natural filtration process, and of course, you have the sea that then would disperse it, no, and reduce the harmful effects. So there is that risk, but I don't see anyone swimming immediately in that vicinity. So it gets reduced significantly, but nevertheless, It's a concern that we take seriously, and it's something that we're working hard to address and minimize for now until the new plan comes into effect in 2 years.
Acosta also discussed the plans to modernize wastewater treatment in the city.
What we have done is we have invested over the past 3 years about $6 million in making improvements in Belize City's sewer infrastructure, wastewater treatment facility. You're looking at moving from a primary treatment facility to a tertiary treatment facility full with a UV filtration system at the end to ensure that the water quality is better, no?
Work on the plant will start in April. A man was fatally stabbed in Placencia this morning. Around 8:35, St. Bite police responded to the report of a stabbing at a residence along Caribbean Way in Placencia. Officers went to the scene where they spoke with a witness who lives on the ground floor of a two-story house. He told police that the tenant upstairs had been stabbed by a neighbor. Police found the victim suffering from several stab wounds and bleeding profusely. He was rushed to the Placencia Polyclinic where he was pronounced dead. The victim has been identified as 51-year-old Rolando Vindas Cespedes, a Costa Rican national and general manager of Fife's Banana Farm. At the scene, police detained a 47-year-old neighbor of Maya Beach who was escorted to the St. Bite police station pending investigation. The motive for the fatal stabbing has not yet been established, but reports say that there were more than a dozen stab wounds. 3 days of budget debates ended yesterday with the PM wrapping it up, but before he spoke, the final member of the UDP also gave his speech. And we'd say it was unprecedented, certainly a welcome surprise for the government side. Cayo West Area Rep Miguel Guerra opened up his speech by commending the government and not even acknowledging his fellow opposition members. Here's a snippet of that.
I want to commend the government of Belize and all those involved for the hard work put in the preparation of this national budget. Putting together a budget for an entire country is not easy. That requires careful planning and responsibility, and that effort is recognized. I want to say that I am pleased to see the implementation of the National Health Insurance. This is something that many Belizeans have been waiting for, because it will allow our people to seek medical attention without having to pay large amount of money.
And then Guerra went a step further and switched to Spanish to sing Michelle Shebat's praises. He said that Shebat has been generous in his constituency.
Yo quisiera tomar ese tiempo para agradecer a uno de los ministros quien me apoyó desde que entré casi. Ese es el ministro Michel Shebat. Quiero darle las gracias a una persona que creo no es político, es un hombre de trabajo. Yo me considero una persona no política, me considero un hombre de trabajo. En San José Socots, mi aldea más grande, tuve el apoyo del ministro. Las veces que le he pedido, me ha apoyado, no con una, ni dos, ni tres calles en San José Socots, pero me ha apoyado con casi todas las calles en San José Socotos. Y no solo calles, hasta culverts me puso en San José Socotos. Quiero darle las gracias.
Member for KOS.
Yes, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to take the opportunity.
No. Members. I understand the government side would like the member for KOS to continue. I completely understand. However, the translation in Spanish must be word for word, palabra para su presentación.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
It is not that.
Yeah, okay.
You have no members. You made no mention earlier in your earlier presentation when you said, por ejemplo, el culvert, yes, el ministro no es político, none of that. One second, this is important. Precedent cannot be set. The language of the parliament is English. We allow for you to translate what you say in English in the language, native language, whether it be Spanish, whether it be Quechua, whether it be Garifuna, whether it be Creole, but it has to be what you said earlier.
Understood, Madam Speaker. Please, my apologies. I just got emotional. I wanted to do it.
UDP Deputy Leader Hugo Pat did not appear at the debate and informed the Speaker that he would be absent. After the break, we'll show you the public officer allegedly caught moving 16 pounds of weed, and we'll show you the police destroying drug exhibits. Don't go away.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
When the job calls, you need a truck that works as hard as you do. Strong, reliable, and built for the load. The Jack Freight Truck gets the job done. From the lumberyard to the work site, power your business with confidence. I can count on Jack to get the job done right.
The Feinsteins built the tourism village, brought cruise tourism to Belize, helped build this industry from the ground up, and created thousands of jobs. And when Belize needed a deep water cruise port, the Feinsteins went on to develop Stake Bank Island, a Belizean family investing in Belize and building for Belizeans. But instead of supporting Belizeans, this government chose to undermine the project.
The government has colluded with a bank to seize from a private owner.
No, the state is stealing his land.
There was some collusion going on, that there was some inappropriate activity even in the judicial process, and that there were players involved who have strong political capital because they're either currently serving in office, formerly served at really high levels of office, who are deeply involved with this.
They said it was for a public purpose.
But they're acquiring it for a private company.
So this government took away the Feinsteins' land, took away their project, gave it to a private company. And now this same government is building another cruise port at the port of Belize. So what was the public purpose of taking Stake Bank? And now the Foreign Affairs Minister is upset that America is paying attention. No, Francis. This is on the PUP. It's no longer just local politics. Washington is watching. It's not going unnoticed.
And could lead to sanctions, right? OFAC sanctions, which would be devastating.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria, con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente. Ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito, realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas. Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m., en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
We are human beings, so when we are in a hole, we always think our hole is the biggest, deepest, blackest hole. That is just human. And at MIDH, we get to experience a lot of people's sadness and a lot of their turmoil, a lot of what they go through on a day-to-day basis. We have to be there, open to 24 hours a day, having them call us and calling me and telling me, Miss Mar, you know how I live. They send me videos of when it's raining, what's going on in their house. People send you pictures of their children playing in the muddy waters. It's a toll to take on personally every single day. And you recognize that it's the truth, it's their life, it's what they want to change about their lives. And they see this program as a way for them to make a change. So simultaneously, when I'm handing out keys or when we are handing out keys at MIDH, the same day I know my phone is going to ring incessantly for the next few days with people who will be sending me videos, will be crying, will be telling me that their story is one that I need to look at immediately because it's urgent. So it's very difficult because countrywide we have a great need and we are trying our best. We can continue this program for another 10 years and we probably still would not complete filling all the need.
Kite flying is fun, but it can also be dangerous. Fly kites safely by following these tips. Never use wire, metallic thread, or wire-reinforced strings. You could be electrocuted. Remember, even a safely built kite can cause a power outage if it gets caught in a power line. Always use paper, plastic, or wood to build kites. Never fly kites near power lines, in the path of traffic, aircrafts, or near highways. Always fly kites with a responsible adult in open areas, in dry weather, and with clear visibility. Never attempt to remove your kite from a power line. Always call BEL at 0800-235-2273 if your kite gets caught in a power line. Belize Electricity Limited. We care about your safety.
Nando's Wholesale is the distributor for the full line of Badia spices, including the original complete seasoning, the perfect combination of ingredients and spices prepared to enhance the natural flavor of your favorite foods. Also, cinnamon powder for all your desserts, fruits, and beverages, and as special dishes. All these are available in commercial sizes or restaurant packaging. Nando's products are available at your local retailer or contact us at 222-5000. From Corzal to Toledo, Nando's is proud to be serving Belize as its #1 wholesale distributor for over 35 years.
The Feinsteins built the tourism village, brought cruise tourism to Belize, helped build this industry from the ground up, and created thousands of jobs. And when Belize needed a deep water cruise port, the Feinsteins went on to develop Stake Bank Island, a Belizean family investing in Belize and building for Belizeans. But instead of supporting Belizeans, this government chose to undermine the project.
The government has colluded with a bank to seize from a private owner.
No, the state is stealing his land.
There was some collusion going on, that there was some inappropriate activity even in the judicial process, and that there were players involved who have strong political capital because they're either currently serving in office, formerly served at really high levels of office, who are deeply involved with this.
They said it was for a public purpose.
But they're acquiring it for a private company.
So this government took away the Feinsteins' land, took away their project, gave it to a private company. And now this same government is building another cruise port at the port of Belize. So what was the public purpose of taking Stake Bank? And now the Foreign Affairs Minister is upset that America is paying attention. No, Francis. This is on the PUP. It's no longer just local politics. Washington is watching. It's not going unnoticed.
And could lead to sanctions, right? OFAC sanctions, which would be devastating.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Tonight, a senior public officer stands accused of drug trafficking after police busted him with 16 pounds of weed. At around 7:45 this morning, acting on intelligence, police conducted a search at number 8 Starkey Hill, Piscini area, where they found 45-year-old Andrew Wade, the communications officer at Nemo Belmopan branch. When police searched the home, they found 10 parcels of cannabis wrapped in transparent plastic. Wade was informed of the offense committed, which is drug trafficking, and he was taken into custody. When police weighed the weed, it added up to 16.3 pounds. He appeared in Belmopan court today with attorney Oscar Salgado, where he was remanded due to the quantity of marijuana he's accused of trafficking. And it will be a while before those 16 pounds of weed are destroyed because the case has to first work its way through court. But today, many kilos of drugs that have gone through the process ended up at a secret location to be destroyed. We covered one of those drug destruction events today, and Jo Marie Lanza reports.
A fiery furnace, a cordon of armed officers, the foul odor of chemical drugs burning are the hallmark of a drug destruction, like the one we witnessed this morning at an undisclosed location. Some of these drugs have been kept as Eastern Division's exhibit for months, if not years. And today, the Belize Police Department successfully disposed of them by fire. It's the first drug destruction for the year, and a meticulous task of monitoring for these officers and public servants who diligently witness and document the destruction of cannabis, cocaine, and meth.
So we have a planned drug destruction that is ongoing. It's mainly drugs that were lost and found properties. We have some of them that were as a result of cases that concluded at the courts. These drugs have been in our custody for quite some time, so we got approval from headquarters for the destruction of these drugs. We have over 250 kilos of cocaine that is presently being destroyed. We have similar amount when it comes to cannabis. We have approximately 200 packets of cannabis-infused candies. We have crystal meth, and we have methamphetamines.
At present, the street value for cocaine stands at about $11,000 to $15,000 per kilo. But as for some of these other drugs, the length of time that they have been kept in police custody causes their value to depreciate. Rodriguez says some of them cannot be destroyed until a case is closed, which is why they tend to accumulate over time.
The period extends for quite some time because some of it is related to drugs case that happens like years ago. And the case recently concluded, so hence the reason we're just destroying them. Some of them are recent, like 6 months ago. We usually keep them for about 6 months, the most, and then we make application for the destruction of the drugs. We have to go through each one of the items. We have witnesses present, we have a magistrate present, we have a justice of the peace, we have media personnel present. We also have someone from the forensic lab who does random testing, just to confirm that whatever it is that we are destroying is indeed drugs.
Why is this an important process for the police department, aside from assuring that no one gets their hands back on these illicit items?
Well, the drugs, it's a matter of freeing up space in our exhibit room because our space at the exhibit room is very limited. So we need to do this exercise from time to time so that we free up space. And likewise, we destroy it in a proper way so that it does not reach out back to the public.
Due to the requirement for precise documentation with multiple checks and balances, the process took hours. Jo Marilanda, 7 News.
It took almost 5 hours for the process to be completed. The Port of Belize's public consultation for a proposed cargo expansion and cruise port development was held last night at the Biltmore. The 1,200-page EIA is currently available for review, and the public got a chance to ventilate their questions and complaints. And the Q&A section saw the panelists a little lost for words. Courtney Menzies has a review of the consultation, and here's her story.
Last night, Belize City residents, environmental NGO reps, business owners, and other stakeholders gathered at the Biltmore Plaza for the public consultation on the environmental impact assessment for the Port of Belize proposed cargo expansion and cruise port development project. After a 2-hour presentation, they opened the floor for questions and comments from the public. And Yaya Marin Coleman kicked it off with a red-hot request.
Is it possible for us, the NIAC, which is the National Environmental Appraisal Committee, the people who will review and give partial or full environmental clearance for this development, some of the in the room would appreciate if you could raise your hand so we could know who the people to make that decision? Is that possible? Because we've never seen these people and know who they are, and they're making these decisions on our behalf. Our organization is asking specifically for a public hearing. In a public hearing, the developer, then the pitch, they want this project. In our public hearing, the people have one opportunity for you to ask all their comments, concern. No developer not there, which is a different environment. The people are critical and central in any development, but the law not giving her the power for focus on the people. So only organized people could say to the people, we have to advocate for we own interests, because the law not giving her the power for that. And that's why we're insisting. The members on our raise on the hand, the one over there. Yes, the one we know who they.
What I want to know is what can we put in writing? What can we do to ensure that there is a strong commitment from the port that when everything becomes mechanized, my bedrins who are the stevedores, who chase the wheat and who take the containers off of the ship won't be at home finding something else to do, as a minister once said, right? The last time we were here in this very same room, and to Yaya's point, I also agree that sometimes we need to have these meetings in the neighborhood, you know, because a lot of people get disenfranchised. I look around this room and I see a lot of people, yes, but I could tell you the ones who are actually from port, right? And it's not the majority, right? So then, how equal is this? How fair is it really being?
We want this thing to work out, and the economy done, they go down already, and they want to boost the economy, want a whole lot. So from my point of view, as one of the community personnel that lives there for so long, I wish the project goes on, because they give one lot of job opportunity, starting the building of it, and when it's completed, we will have job opportunities for the community. Because I don't want to talk about the next one of the state bank come soon like at the bite, but that not have nothing to do with the Belizean citizens. So I just hope this pull through and works out for the best.
And it's saddened to see that as indigenous Belizean, we supported the industry, we built the industry, and to have somebody else come in and reap the sweet. And right now at the tourist village, we are outside looking in. So we challenge the government of Belize, even though we support this project and we're going to continue to support it, that we want to sign an agreement with you folks for perpetuity, that our children's children could be a part of this industry, could be a part of this port. So we don't have to be outside looking in, but be inside and paving the way for other Belizeans.
I'm severely concerned that from the beginning of this project, the cruise port has been a secondary thought. If you want to solve a port issue, then solve the port issue. And it's true. What the guy said, I have been to many cruise ports, and most of the cruise ports in this part of the world are moving away from dovetailing it with cargo ports.
How somebody when I have knowledge about one project could support one project. Now, uno guilty and never adequately make sure that Belizean people understand one complex conversation. My heart broke when I hear all them people come up here and say they support one project, because I put them sit down and ask them questions, they can't answer them question, This is not one government initiative. NIAC, the government employees, you really think NIAC want to tell them boss, govern, you know, to run through this project? So that one conflict of interest to me.
The entire meeting lasted about 4 hours, and the consultation period to comment in writing ends on April 1st. Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
And the Department of the Environment is also active in the field, as we have reported a vessel that ran aground on the Belize Barrier Reef system near Franks Key within the Sapadilla Keys Marine Reserve has been removed with, according to the DOE, minimal environmental damage. The vessel Rumbline ran aground on March 19th after experiencing engine problems while traveling from Roatan to Livingston. A joint inspection by the department and the Belize Port Authority found the vessel had grounded in a sandy area with its keel lodged between two rocks, resulting in minimal damage to the reef. The vessel was removed on March 23rd around 2 p.m. with impacts limited to a single colony of lettuce coral. We spoke with the DOE officer, Kenrick Gordon, who explained how a crane was able to remove the boat without damage.
The removal, you using a crane. How is it possible that you can use a crane to remove it and there was no damage?
Well, what happened is, so beneath the vessel, every different grounding has different different circumstances. In this case, I could say that Mr. Perry had initially thought that his vessel was a gun, right? When we spoke to him, he stated that he took what was his valuable item off the vessel and gave it away because he thought that there was no way he would be able to recover the vessel, right? He was crying and in a panic mode. We explained to him, let us go out and look and see what state the vessel is in. When we went there, we took a dive and do an assessment of the area. We saw that the vessel has a keel right beneath the boat, right? And that keel keeps the vessel itself afloat, more or less. So basically, it just bounced on the sand, on the sandy floor, and that was stuck between two rocks, right? Right behind the vessel in this case was about, I would say about 10 to 15 feet deep. So that's where the crane was able to go right up to the vessel. Well, the barge, the crane was on the barge, it went right up to the vessel and then stretches its arm, its boom. They put the strap beneath or underneath the vessel, and then it lifts the entire vessel right out the water and reverse out. So he was very fortunate, I'd say, because in other instances, sometimes when these vessels go aground, they end up without a bottom.
The Department of the Environment says it is now finalizing its findings and determining the appropriate course of action. And while the DOE is leading maneuvers with that vessel, no less than the Prime Minister made it clear that they made a major misstep with the Panamanian vessel that carried undeclared fuel. As we told you, in spite of multiple infractions by that vessel and the importer, the DOE offered Ming-Pei Chen of Belize Petro Spirits and Distributors a, quote, administrative solution. We zoom in on the PM's tough talks against the DOE for doing that.
So when I heard that all of a sudden the DOE jumped the gun and sent them and got an invoice, I don't know how they got an invoice when the customs did not get it. And saying, come, we'll settle this administratively. They were totally out of their remit. That was not within their purview to be able to do that. Maybe in other matters, they probably could have done that. And so what I've said, again, instructed the Attorney General to ensure that an attorney from his office to be fully involved in this, to ensure that, that we can get to the bottom of this, 2, confiscate this, and then 3, whosoever is in any way available, involved in this and did any illegal activity, that they must be charged to the fullest extent of the law.
We'll keep following to see where those charges go. There was a high-level technical meeting at the Fort George today hosted by the Ministry of Investment. 11 representatives from the state of Quintana Roo, Mexico were present to discuss the renewal of a 2022 MOU between Belize and Mexico aimed at opening new trade opportunities that will benefit both countries. The Director of Investment Policy and Compliance Unit spoke with us after the event about the interests that Mexico has in re-signing the MOU.
Today we had a meeting with the Secretaría de Desarrollo Económico del Estado de Quintana Roo and also the Office of the Gobernadora in Quintana Roo. We initially met at the Belize Investment Summit in 2025 where the Gobernadora sent a delegation and they had met with senior government officials of Belize where they expressed interest to renew a memorandum that we had signed about them 3 years prior, which has now elapsed. And they have several interests in Belize. One interest that they have is to access Caricom via Belize because they are developing an industrial park in the southern part of Quintana Roo. And they also have a logistical corridor that they're trying to utilize and where they want to develop, they call it something what they call a polos de desarrollo, and they close to the Riviera de Rio Hondo, and what they're developing, and they said that they want to take advantage of that so that they could access the Caricom market by attracting some of the large Mexican manufacturers so as to comply with the rules of origin in Caricom via establishing some sort of what they call as dual type of factories. They call it plantas gemelas there. So it's something that is done at the northern part of Mexico where they have factories set on the both sides of the border, and they exchange intermediate goods. And so as to comply with the rules of origin for each market, they would finalize the products at each respective factory. We want to do the same thing here, and they want to access the Caricom market via Belize. So it's something that is doable. And another thing that they said that they're very interested in is the Port of Belize. The Port of Belize is closer to them than the nearest port is Puerto Progreso for them, and that's about 5 hours away from them. We are 2.5. So that's a large distance, which would save a lot of time and also money. So that will definitely increase their competitive advantage if they want to create those polos de desarrollo in that area in southern Mexico.
And while that is on the official level, on the informal level, Belize and Mexico are in active daily trade and relations as close neighbors. But there are nagging security concerns due to cartel activity on that side. Earlier this week, when we spoke to Belize's ambassador to Mexico, we asked about the general security situation in Quintana Roo, especially with Easter coming up and many Belizeans planning to vacation there. He discussed the current cartel activity that the Mexican federal government has been monitoring in Quintana Roo.
The state of Quintana Roo, as well as the federal government, are very concerned about the situation as well. Whatever happened, all the capture of Mencho, his death, and everything that happened after is well documented on social media. But what hasn't been on social media is the fight that this administration, this Mexican administration, has been doing for the past year and a half. They've targeted very high level, and they've targeted almost every known cartel cell or cartel group that is said to operate in Mexico. They've taken quite a bit of leaders. Quite a few people have been sent to the U.S. as well. They were captured and the U.S. wanted them, so they were extradited. And so what happens after those types of operation is that there's a level of splintering that takes place. There's not one main person or one main head who is giving out instructions. And so a bit of what we're seeing is because of that. There have been activity as well that has looked at individuals and groups in the Quintana Roo area. And I say Quintana Roo because it's not only Chatamal, it's Tulum, Playa, Cancun, and that entire area.
And for those traveling to that area for Easter, Arnold shared the key safety tips.
What has been done is that they've deployed 10,000 troops across the entire state, and I understand that an additional 6,000 to 7,000 will also be deployed between the end of this week and over the next 2 weeks. But let's come to the point. The roadways to Merida are very safe to travel. The roadways to Cancun, if we stay on the beaten path, if we stay on the main highways, is very safe to travel. The tourist areas, Merida is one of the safest cities and has always been one of the safest cities in Mexico. And I'm very careful when I speak about Merida because I know quite a bit of Belizeans go to Merida for medical treatment, for life-saving medical treatment. And so before we give an advisory to say, no, you shouldn't or no, you can't, I really try to get a lot of information from the ground, from our honorary council in Merida, as well as the police force in Merida. We've seen and we've known of activity in the Cancun, Playa, Tulum, the entire Quintana Roo area. And I know that the Mexicans have deployed quite a bit of resources there. They even have, for example, a highway assistance program that is known as the Green Angels, where if you're traveling and you run out of gas, a fan belt is busted or something, they stop by and help you free of cost. The Mexicans have also implemented an app where you can download that app, and if you're traveling, and it's for tourist purposes, it allows you 2 minor traffic infractions in the event that you're traveling and you're registered on that app. You will get 2 warnings as opposed to being ticketed. They've also launched an anonymous hotline, 089, and this is an important one for Belizeans to have because this is where you can anonymously report any extortion attempt. I believe in the news about a week and a half ago, there was an issue with 3 people who suffered a virtual kidnapping where they weren't physically kidnapped. They thought that they were being watched when really the person calling was from a correctional facility in Tamaulipas. And so there are a bit of advice. I've shared some of the pointers there on an information chart that I hope that the media can circulate as well.
And while cartel fears are stoked by stories spread across social media, Arno says that even with all that has been reported to be happening across the border, the Mexican federal government is still in charge and maintains command and control over the larger municipalities and areas.
From my perspective and for the briefings that we receive and the meetings that I attend, the federal government is still very much in control. Understand that at all levels, there's the federal level, you have the state level, and you have the municipal level. And depending on the type of government that you have at those levels, depending on the state that you live in, depending on the level of seriousness of the individuals who hold those positions, what you will see is that different states rank higher than others simply because of the individuals and the priorities that they put and the amount of resources that they have to spend. I mentioned earlier that the entire Quintana Roo, the entire Riviera Maya area is very important, not only to the state government, but to the federal government for the tourist dollars. And so they've done a lot, they've invested a lot to try to make tourists feel safe and to have them not reconsider visiting, but still remain a priority. It's a little bit more difficult because some municipalities don't have the level of resources that others have. A week ago, I was in a meeting, and we understand, for example, like Guadalajara is one of the places then where a lot of these type of activities happen. But when we met with the security personnel there and they explained to us the amount of cameras that they have under vigilance, almost 17-story building that they use just to monitor all the activities, and they can tie into the cameras for the businesses as well. And they've combated a lot of the criminal activity. The issue that we face now is that one shooting or one targeted shooting in Quintana Roo, in Chetumal, well, we already know it's the cartel. My job here as the representative of the people and government of Belize is to try to ensure that our Belizeans are safe. We have a great working relationship, a bilateral relationship with the Mexicans. And so I have to balance that with being very responsible in what I report. But my ultimate responsibility is to the people of Belize.
We take a break now. When we come back, we'll tell you about a new method to take HIV tests right at home. Don't go away.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
The Feinsteins built the tourism village, brought cruise tourism to Belize, helped build this industry from the ground up, and created thousands of jobs. And when Belize needed a deep water cruise port, the Feinsteins went on to develop Stake Bank Island, a Belizean family investing in Belize and building for Belizeans. But instead of supporting Belizeans, this government chose to undermine the project.
The government has colluded with a bank to seize from a private owner.
No, the state is stealing his land.
There was some collusion going on, that there was some inappropriate activity even in the judicial process, and that there were players involved who have strong political capital because they're either currently serving in office, formerly served in really high levels of office, who are deeply involved with this.
They said it was for a public purpose.
But they're acquiring it for a private company.
So this government took away the Feinsteins' land, took away their project, gave it to a private company. And now this same government is building another cruise port at the port of Belize. So what was the public purpose of taking Stake Bank? And now the Foreign Affairs Minister is upset that America is paying attention. No, Francis. This is on the PUP. It's no longer just local politics. Washington is watching. It's not going unnoticed.
And could lead to sanctions, right? OFAC sanctions, which would be devastating.
My name is Mrs. Esther Smith. I'm a co-owner of A Glimpse of Paradise gift shop here at Altoona, booth number 13. And me and my husband have to offer some of the most finest wood products here in Belize, all hand done by him. And these products are made from some of the most beautiful, finest and hardest wood here in our country. I first started at Atlantic Bank as, went there to start a saving account. From there, I have my checking account with the POS machine. And then it becomes more like a family to me because there are personnel from Atlantic Bank that will always come here, check with us, make sure everything is okay, clean our machine, and they will always ensure that we have bundles. My advice to anybody that wants to choose Atlantic Bank to be their bank is that don't be afraid. You won't have any regret. Atlantic, you will find them to be very efficient, reliable, and competent.
The Feinsteins built the tourism village, brought cruise tourism to Belize, helped build this industry from the ground up, and created thousands of jobs. And when Belize needed a deep water cruise port, the Feinsteins went on to develop Stake Bank Island, a Belizean family investing in Belize and building for Belizeans. But instead of supporting Belizeans, this government chose to undermine the project.
The government has colluded with a bank to seize from a private owner.
No, the state is stealing his land.
There was some collusion going on, that there was some inappropriate activity even in the judicial process, and that there were players involved who have strong political capital because they're either currently serving in office, formerly served in really high levels of office, who are deeply involved with this.
They said it was for a public purpose.
But they're acquiring it for a private company.
So this government took away the Feinsteins' land, took away their project, gave it to a private company. And now this same government is building another cruise port at the port of Belize. So what was the public purpose of taking Stake Bank? And now the Foreign Affairs Minister is upset that America is paying attention. No, Francis. This is on the PUP. It's no longer just local politics. Washington is watching. It's not going unnoticed.
And could lead to sanctions, right? OFAC sanctions, which would be devastating.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Belize has one of the highest HIV prevalence rates in Central America. While new infections have decreased, the epidemic is concentrated among the young adult and youth population. The Belize district reports the highest incidence, followed by the Cayo district. And that's why it's news that today the Ministry of Health, along with the National AIDS Commission and the Global Fund, launched 2 policies to aid in the fight against HIV/AIDS. Jaleesa Roberts attended the launch and tells you how testing just got easier.
This is what a HIV self-testing kit looks like, and it's now being made available by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Every year, the ministry confirms about 200 new HIV cases, but the goal is by 2030, they will eliminate HIV/AIDS as a public health threat in Belize. These 2 policies, the National HIV Self-Testing Policy and the National Clinical Practice Guidelines for Pre-Exposure Prophylaxis and Non-Occupational Post-Exposure Prophylaxis for HIV prevention in Belize, will now provide additional support to persons who have contracted the disease.
Belize is one of the few Caribbean countries that actually have a HIV self-testing policy. This is not something that is widely available across the Caribbean. And we have a policy, we're currently working on the implementation plan, which would then detail the scale up of it. These tests allow you to know your status. If you don't have access to these tests, tests are also available countrywide within our government facilities, the routine tests. And knowing your status is very powerful. If you know your status and you are positive, you can start treatment immediately. Treatment is free of cost again. And the quicker you get treated, the lower the virus is in your body, which means you can no longer transmit it, live a normal, healthy, long life like everyone else. Now, if you're negative after testing, then you can go on PrEP. All right? So we have something for people who are positive and also something for those who are negative to not become positive. Because the idea is to prevent by taking medication and to prevent other people getting sick by taking your antiretroviral medication.
With support from the Global Fund and local partners, the government plans to expand the program across the country's health facilities to cater to everyone, especially young people, among whom the incidence is highest.
This is the way that we need to go as a country, having this access of this self-testing that I can do at home and then follow up with whatever the results be. So I would encourage and I really would want to emphasize to the country of Belize and especially to the young people, which is within that margin that we are seeing the HIV positive cases, that prevention is better than cure. But if you are already in the statistics, the medications are right there, free of cost. And I will repeat it again, coming from the Global Fund side of perspective, Belize is one of the few Caribbean countries that offer free medication. And another thing, Belize is one of the 2 or 3 countries that have an integrated service for HIV. You don't need to go to an HIV clinic or a diabetes clinic. The way forward for this government, this administration, is to ensure that everything is integrated to give the best of service to the population and to the citizens.
Over the past few years, Belize has increased the options for HIV/AIDS treatment, and according to NAC chairperson Dolores Valderramos Garcia, even though the numbers are going down, they are still unacceptable.
We still have unacceptable numbers. It's been going down, but to us it is unacceptable because if we are to reach the 2030 goal, we have to speed up all the responses. And these here are an integral part of the response that we have to do. Not to forget, though, that education is key. And we will be reaching out, we will continue reaching out to schools, we will continue reaching out to the rest of the community. So we know that the job is big, but we believe that with these tools, it will be able to help.
Belizeans are being encouraged to take advantage of the services available and continue practicing preventative measures. Jaleesa Roberts, 7 News.
The area of Pettville in Orange Walk today saw the inauguration of their water generator facility. The facility, which is valued at $950,000, is a major part of the BWS redundancy, ensuring that water is available and running even during outages. At the ceremony, the executive chairman of BWS gave an overview of the project.
And it includes the development of 2 production wells that are on the corner there, disinfection systems, a generator and electrical installations, as well as storage and transmission infrastructure. So this pump station feeds directly now into Orange Walk, right? And what does this signify? That basically it will strengthen our system by supplying up to 50% of the required water demand by Orange Walk. That is how important this pump station is.
The project we commissioned today represents a capital investment of $950,000. While the fiscal cost is significant, the social and economic dividends are far greater. By integrating this redundant water supply into a regional network, we are actively mitigating the risk of service disruption for both Orange Walk Town and Pettville.
We have to be forward-thinking or future-focused, as we've been saying for the past few months, that we could be looking backwards and continue to criticize and try to blame the past, but that would put us nowhere. We have to look at the future. Where is it that we want Belize to be 25 years from now? You're celebrating your 25th anniversary as BWSL this year. So we need to think, okay, in terms of 25 years and even 50 years. Belize is one of the top 10 countries in the world that's most vulnerable to climate change. And we always think that water is always going to be there, that it's bountiful, and that it will never end. Well, if we're not careful, it will dry up in Belize. And you all at BWSL, you're at the forefront of that challenge and can realize day in, day out how the water table is changing. And you also then start to think about how you could ensure that you can, that your clients, our citizens, do not run out of water.
And BWS also inaugurated an elevated water tank on Arthur Street. Belize's Dr. Carla Barnett, who is the Secretary General of Caricom, is under pressure tonight, and that's because it was announced yesterday that during the recent Caricom conference of heads of government, the required majority of Caricom heads agreed to the reappointment of Dr. Carla Barnett as Secretary General. With that, her second term of office will begin in August of 2026. But one prominent regional head is not at all happy with it, and that's Trinidadian Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissett, who has said she does not support Barnett's reappointment and that Trinidad and Tobago will be reducing its financial contribution to the regional group. At the recent heads conference, Persad-Bissett had complained publicly in her remarks to the gathering that she formally wrote the Secretariat a letter when she was leader of the opposition and got no response. The 10th annual Belize Coast Guard Wonder Woman Challenge is underway, and with one final day left, the teams are ready to see who will be named the 2026 champions. Our 7 News team today captured the competition between the Belize Coast Guard, Belize Police Department, and the Belize Defense Force.
These are the cheers that you would hear from the members of Belize's different security forces supporting their teams in the 2026 Wonder Woman Challenge. This is the 10th annual year, and the 3 teams are competing neck to neck to see who will be declared the champion. Former participant and coordinator Alma Pinello says that this year the competition is extremely high.
This year has been very interesting. You know, these ladies always bring their all. You know, we're the same thing. The competition hasn't changed, but every year you see something different. The competitive, the spirit is super high this year. It's the 10th annual, so I didn't expect anything less. What I would is more women in security so we could have more teams.
And the rain couldn't stop those ladies today as they ran 6 miles in the pouring rain through the John Smith Road. Pinello says the women are going for it.
It's been rainy, it's cool, so I know that the ladies are loving the coolness. The rain this morning was a little annoying to them, I know, because you have rain in your eyes and whatnot, but the weather has been one thing. Outside of that, really, it's just they've really stepped their game up. They're forcing Coast Guard, reigning champs, to work super hard this year. So we're seeing a lot of different things, Police beat Coast Guard this morning on the 6 miles run. That's a first. We caught back up this afternoon. We maintain our swim and run championship in terms of Coast Guard's always winning that. We're still winning that. So there's some things that are the same, some things that are different. But definitely the standard, I think, of fitness and readiness that these women put themselves to is what I think is improved.
Home Affairs CEO Elton Bennett was there supporting the police department. He says that after seeing the competition for 10 years, he has witnessed its progression.
It's a very interesting feeling to be here along with the team from police and to be competing on the Coast Guard base against the BDF, both services of which I've served in, and to see how our women in the services constantly improve their physical standard, constantly improve their leadership, constantly improve their teamwork. I know I've been observing this competition for the 10 years that it has been running. So to see constant improvement every year, year after year, and to see especially the police improvement this year, I'm very, very happy to be able to witness this, and I'm very happy to be a part of it.
With the BDF leading, Lieutenant Colonel Roberta Usher says that they are sticking to the plan of bringing home the win tomorrow.
How was it? Exhausting. It was hard though. We stuck to our plan, even though it hurt, but came out. We decided this year that regardless of what happens on the court or on the field, we'll stick to what we trained for and what we planned for. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, at least we stuck to the plan.
What do you think sets you guys apart as BDF from the other forces?
I don't know, because everybody's really competitive this year. I want to think it's our teamwork, and I fully believe that it's sticking to the plan.
The event is scheduled during Women's Month, and according to Pinello, this shows that women can be multifaceted.
I think it goes towards definitely the aspect of I can do this and more. A lot of these women, outside of the fact that they are being paid to train, you have women that also have to deal with their regular day jobs as well. These are working women, they're mothers, some of them are single mothers, some of them have multiple children. So it just is that I can do everything in spite of everything you throw against me.
Delisa Roberts, 7 News.
The BDF is leading, but tomorrow will determine the winners with the March and Shoot and the Crucible. That's all we have for you for our newscast tonight. Thanks for watching. With your news, I'm Indra Craig. Remember, you can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see the streaming video on our Facebook page. Have a pleasant evening. Join Miriam Abdul-Kawe here tomorrow, and I'll be seeing you back on Monday. So until then, have a great one.